Hey guys, welcome to another Trade Genius podcast. Bob and Phil here. As always, guys, the Nvidia numbers came out. Here's the one chart you need to keep an eye on. Let's dive in.
Trade Genius.
All right, Bob, Nvidia earnings came out. Not as dramatic a reaction, I think, as we thought we might get. But Bob, what's the one chart, though, that these guys need to be watching?
Yeah, so pretty interesting. Yeah, Nvidia. Everybody who bought puts and calls because they expected the end of the world or the beginning of nirvana are all going to get crushed tomorrow. So it's going to probably keep Nvidia probably in a range tomorrow too. So I think it's a big nothing burger. So hopefully we're going to be free right into the long weekend now. But the chart I want to show is gold versus velocity. Really interesting because people automatically assume that gold is a monetary inflation thing, but not necessarily. So it's really an arbitrage against how restrictive or how loose monetary policy is. And here you have a thing here where they talked about the the M2 money stock versus the price index of gold. And as the money stock collapses, gold goes up. So really interesting to see. And it looks like we're making another pump down in money stock and a push higher in gold. It kind of makes sense because when Goldilocks is in the house, what do? They beat up gold and silver and they buy the indexes. And so when that trade starts to go away, they're covering their gold short bets and gold goes up. And I'll show you in the chart here, Phil, what it looks like. It's really interesting. Gold put a cup and handle in here, okay? And we have a move now where it's just breaking out of that cup and handle. You can see the arrows on the chart, and it may back test that a little bit, but it looks like gold's on its way to $2,700. And I think if the Fed lowers interest rates but doesn't loosen monetary policy, and we keep getting the velocity coming down because we're going into a recession, I think you're going to see more people moving into gold because gold's going to be a trade that you can make money at.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Velocity is really the way to look at that, because some people will say, oh, gold versus dollar and da-da-da-da. But really, I think the best correlation, inverse correlation really, is that velocity of M2. So that's really, really important. Bitcoin has a similar, although not as sensitive. I think Bitcoin is more sensitive to the trend of the dollar versus velocity of M2. So there are different correlations. That's why gold and Bitcoin don't exactly trade together. And that's a key component to that. But yeah, Nvidia, I think they beat on the surface, but then adjusted EPS was a miss by 1 cent. They got beat up a little bit after hours. When you're pricing in perfection, there's not a lot of room for that stuff. I think, though, unless we really start losing the indices overnight, meaning the Qs and the overnight session in the S&P 500 or the ES futures really starts to go south. I think you have the potential, Bob, for that low that sometimes you get going into a Thursday. You get that Thursday candle low, which we've already put in. We took out the Wednesday low as this overnight session reopened here. So that's already in. So we could be up tomorrow. And then you know what that is? Thursday up into a 3-day weekend usually means that the bid continues. And then we have this 2-week window, which is a seasonality window that goes up into the middle of September. On top of that, you've got a rate cut coming on September 18th, and markets like to go up in a rate cut. So I think there's a lot of potential for a squeeze up here for the next couple of weeks. The big thing was getting through these Nvidia earnings, and I would say that as of right now, it looks like we've survived the storm.
Everybody, is Bob with Trade Genius. Usually I do fun ads. I talk about our service, but I want to be serious with you for a second. We've been helping a lot of people trading for a long time. As you can see here, I want to let them do the talking for me for a change. But most importantly, we want to help you too. If you have not joined our service yet, come check us out. TradeLikeAGenius.com. Full service. We have chat room. We have the algorithms for you. We give trades out every day. We educate you. So go to TradeLikeAGenius.com. Check us out. What you get out of our service is much, much more than what you put into it. And we'd like to see you in the room. Thanks for listening. And the other thing is the skew. Is a skew is basically are traders leaning with calls or puts, and traders want to be long with calls. So you got that going for you as well. And the buyback windows are still wide open yet too. So I just think there's a lot of good guys here, and I think the market reacted ahead of the Nvidia, and it basically took the temperature down as well. So we'll just have to see how this plays out. I think Bitcoin might be waiting for the Fed to cut because it's a different animal than gold.
Could be. Absolutely.
And once they know that the monetary spigot may turn back on, you may see gold hit its target and move back down and see Bitcoin start to respond to lower rates. So we'll have to see here. We're trying to understand, at least I'm trying to understand what Bitcoin's really worried about right now, Phil. It's been stuck in this range now for 6 months.
Yep.
They can't sell it off, but nobody's letting it run free. So it's waiting for something, and it might be they're waiting for the Fed cut.
Yep, we'll see. Interesting stuff. All kind of new territory for an asset class is now into $1 trillion. It's our latest $1 trillion asset class. So some things have yet to be discovered with it and its relationship with the markets for sure. All right, guys, well, let us know your thoughts on today's video. Do you think Nvidia is going to rocket back up to the top, or is the top in and that's it? And we're downhill from here. Let us know your thoughts below. As always, check out our stuff over at tradegenius.co. Thanks, Bob. We'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.
Trade Genius.